Hi guys, people just need to move on. It's done and dusted, and stop trying to breathe life back into a divorced relationship. That was the advice Nick Ferrari had for Remainers and Rejoiners when he spoke to a caller on Friday. The host was asking what the man on the other end of the telephone would like to see from a future Prime Minister. The caller wants Britain back in the single market. Nick instead thinks people need to move on, because more discussion of Brexit will just cause more rows. Have a listen to this.
Put the meat on the bone. What would you want to see then? A future British Prime Minister, a non-Conservative, a Labour Prime Minister, how would you want to see a relationship with Europe brokered?
Well, I would like to see us back in the single market, quite simply, because then we can bring back the people we need to do all those jobs, so that we can cut the the waiting list operations, and actually stop people having to queue at borders for hours and hours when they want to come and travel to this country.
But do you not think, rightly or wrongly, that ship has sailed now, Chris? Rightly or wrongly, that has gone.
No, look at the opinion polls. Over 60% of people want us to rejoin. I thought you believed in opinion polls, Nick. You quote them all the time on the show.
I'm sure if I had time, I could find you another poll that probably says people just want to get on with their rest of their lives. That no government... Look at the row this has caused. With Sakir, the man who's odds on to be the next PM, just briefly mentioning the word Europe, and half the world blows up, not all the world. If you only think anything politician is going to say the future is to go back into the European Union, they'll be ripped to shreds.
No, the problem is, respectfully, people that voted for Brexit, Tory MPs, are trying to deny reality. Boris Johnson stood up in front of a load of businessmen 2 or 3 years before the election. Can I finish? No, but hang on, no, but listen, I want you to listen, please. It's important, Nick. This guy misled business leaders and said, there will be no checks between...
Oh, Lord above.
But this is
years ago, man. This is years ago. This is like if you get divorced, you keep going back to the fight over the divorce. You have to let it go.
You can't, Nick. This is the point.
It's not healthy.
Right, but Nick, listen. Final point. Everyone talks about we're missing out on the benefits of Brexit. These people misled us from day one. They need to fess up to the fact that all this has done for UK PLC is bring more checks, more regulatory burden, and more aggravation, and more difficulty in recruiting staff. It's really not that difficult.
He's correct. Yeah, but Nick Ferrari is saying we just need to move on. We need to forget about this. We don't want to go back and fight these fights once again. People were lied to. People were told that there would be sunlit uplands. People were told that farming would be easier, that they'd be able to catch more fish and sell it into the single market without any problems. And anyone who told you different was lying. So people were lied to. People were told everything would be better, and everything has gotten worse because of Brexit. Now, there aren't any benefits. If you want to pull out, CPTPP, it adds 0.08% to GDP over something like 10 years. There was a trade deal done with Mexico that will add £50 million over 10 years. Now, a big problem with this is that Nick Ferrari and people like him are not affected by this. They don't run a small business. They're not farmers. They're not fishermen. They're not running a care home. They're not worried about their job. Nick Ferrari earns something like £40,000 a month. So he's completely protected from any, whether it's inflation, whether it's the cost of living. Nick Ferrari doesn't live those things. So it's easy for him to say, let's just move on. Let's not fight this fight once again. It's not just that he's a Brexiteer, which I believe he is, but he's so disconnected from the impact Brexit is having on businesses, on individuals, on ordinary people, that he doesn't care. And he prefers just to move on. He wants others to move on. But people can't move on. They can't. The situation won't improve until someone deals with the reality of this. Politicians are sticking their heads in the sand. Keir Starmer has somewhat come out and said, yes, what we need to do is we need to align with EU standards. That would help. It's not going to undo the damage. It's going to undo some of it. Like, if Keir Starmer said, let's just ignore Brexit going forward, what would that mean for businesses? The government can't keep bailing out companies. They can't just keep spending taxpayer money to keep businesses in Britain. Eventually, people are going to realize it's a scam. It's built on sand. It's not a long-term strategy. Let's just give some car companies, for example, some money to stay here, to get round the problems of Brexit. That's not sustainable. And it shouldn't be sustainable. It shouldn't be something that the government are doing. The best solution, of course, is to rejoin the European Union and then the single market to undo this. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.